The envelope sat between the breadbasket and my water glass. My mother's handwriting on the front. For your own good. My father straightened his tie. My sister aimed her phone at my face. $47,000 I'd sent them over 3 years. And this was the thank you note. They expected tears. They expected begging. They expected the Ivy who always said okay and drove home crying. But that Ivy had a 6-year-old daughter now. And 10 minutes ago, in the parking lot, my mother whispered the one thing she should never have said. What happened next at table 7 of the Magnolia changed everything. For them. What did my mother whisper? And what was in my envelope? I'll get there. Before I go on, please take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if you genuinely connect with this story. Drop your location and local time in the comments. I love knowing where you're listening from. My name is Ivy. I'm 32, and this is what happens when the quiet one stops being quiet. Now let me take you back 6 months, to the night my father decided I was the problem. Crestwood, Georgia. Population, just enough for everyone to know your business by Sunday. I've lived here my whole life. Same streets, same faces, same whispers at the post office. I work at Paw Print Veterinary Clinic on Miller Road. I'm a vet tech. That means I'm the one holding your terrified Labrador still while Dr. Nguyen gives a shot. It means I smell like antiseptic and golden retriever by the time I clock out. My daughter Lily says I smell like love. That kid keeps me honest. Lily is 6. She's in that stage where every sentence starts with, but why? She wants to know why dogs pant, why the sky goes pink, why we don't eat at restaurants like the kids at school. That last one I dodge. We live in a 2-bedroom apartment above the hardware store on Elm. The carpet's older than I am. The faucet drips if you don't turn it just right. But it's ours. It's stable. Lily has her own room with glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling that I stuck up there her first night. Stable. That's the word I built my life around. Because stability costs. And for the past 3 years, mine cost exactly $1,300 a month. That's what I sent my parents. Every month. Automatic. The first of the month, my Venmo came. $1,300 to Gerald Thornton. Rent money I could have saved. Dance classes Lily could have taken. Dinners out we never had. $1,300 a month. 36 months. $46,800 total. Lily and I ate a lot of rice and beans. I cooked coupons. I hadn't bought myself new jeans in 2 years. But my parents' life stayed on, and that was supposed to matter. Let me tell you about the Thornton family picture. Growing up, there was a wall in our living room. The brag wall, Brooke called it. Brooke's first place ribbon from the science fair. Brooke's prom photo. Brooke's cheerleading squad picture. Brooke's acceptance letter to community college, framed like it was the Declaration of Independence. My honor roll certificate was taped to the fridge once. It was gone by Thursday. I don't say that for pity. I say it because you need to understand the math. In my family, there were 2 daughters and 1 spotlight, and it was never pointed at me. My father, Gerald, 61, broad shoulders, voice like a judge even when ordering breakfast, had a way of introducing us at church picnics. This is Brooke, my youngest. Pause. Smile. And Ivy. No adjective, no detail, just, and Ivy. Like I was the period at the end of someone else's sentence. My mother, Donna, 58, was subtler. She didn't ignore me. She managed me. Ivy, can you set the table? Ivy, can you pick up Brooke from practice? Ivy, can you stay home this weekend? Your father needs help in the yard. I was the utility daughter. Brooke was the trophy. And Brooke, 4 years younger, 28, blonde, loud, confident in the way people are when they've never been told no. She played the part beautifully. She didn't have to be cruel. She just had to exist in the warm light while I stood in the draft by the door. I thought silence was strength. I thought if I kept my head down, kept helping, kept sending money they asked for, they'd eventually look at me the way they looked at her. That was the first lie I told myself. 3 years ago, Gerald got laid off from Brenton Logistics, where he'd managed the warehouse for 19 years. They gave him a box and 2 weeks severance. He was 58. He didn't tell anyone. Not the neighbors, not his buddy Roy from the VFW. He told Donna it was early retirement. She repeated it to the church ladies like she'd rehearsed it. The call came at 11:14 on a Tuesday night. Donna's voice, thin, cracking. Ivy, your father won't eat. We're 3 months behind on the electric bill. I don't know what to do. I was sitting on Lily's bedroom floor, folding laundry. Lily was 3 then, sleeping hard, arms thrown wide like she owned the whole mattress. How much, Mom? 1,300 would cover the bills and groceries, just this month. Just this month became every month. Gerald's one condition. Don't tell anyone, especially not Brooke. I don't want pity from my own kids. He said it like he was granting me a mission, not asking for a handout. So I kept the secret. I cut my grocery budget. I stopped buying Lily new shoes. Consignment store on 3rd had decent ones for $4 a pair. I picked up Saturday shifts at the clinic when Dr. Nguyen needed help. Meanwhile, Brooke, still living rent-free in our parents' guest room, posted on Instagram a photo of her and Donna, arms around each other, grocery bags on the counter. Caption: I love spoiling my parents. 812 likes. I saw it at midnight after a 12-hour shift. I screenshotted it. Not for any plan, not for revenge. Because it hurt, and I wanted proof that the hurt was real. That screenshot sat in my phone for 3 years. 18 months ago, Brooke met Marcus Webb. The Webbs are Crestwood's version of royalty. Marcus's father runs Webb Properties. Half the commercial buildings downtown carry his name on the lease. Marcus himself is a CPA at the family firm. Quiet, polite, the kind of man who holds doors and remembers your coffee order. Brooke posted the relationship on Instagram before the second date. Gerald's chest puffed up like a rooster. Donna started shopping at the nicer grocery store on Piedmont, the one with the organic section, using, I should note, money I sent. The Webb engagement changed the temperature in my family. Suddenly, image wasn't just important, it was everything. Gerald stopped wearing his old flannel to the hardware store. He bought a blazer. Donna got her hair colored every 6 weeks. They spoke about our family in careful, curated terms, the version where Gerald retired early, Donna arranged flowers, and Brooke was the devoted daughter keeping everyone afloat. I met Marcus exactly once, at a backyard barbecue that summer. He was grilling burgers. I was refilling the lemonade pitcher because Donna pointed at it and said, Ivy. Marcus turned from the grill. So, what do you do? I'm a vet tech. My father materialized behind me. She's still figuring things out. I watched Marcus register that. His eyes moved from Gerald to me. 1 second longer than expected, like he was filing something away. I didn't think about it again. Not then. 2 weeks after the barbecue, Donna called. Her voice was honey thick, the pitch she uses when she needs something. There's a dinner, sweetheart. At the Magnolia, the whole family. Wear something nice, not your work clothes. My stomach dropped, and I couldn't explain why. The Magnolia is the only fine dining restaurant in Crestwood. White tablecloths, actual candles, a piano player on Fridays. I'd driven past it 1,000 times, never been inside. Why the Magnolia? I asked. The Webbs want to see us together before the wedding. United. Donna stretched that word like taffy. It's important, Ivy. United. The last time my mother used that word, she needed me to co-sign Gerald's truck lease. I said yes then. I had a feeling this dinner would cost more. When? Saturday, 7:30. I already made the reservation. Notice she didn't ask if I was free. She informed me. I hung up and stared at the ceiling. Something felt wrong. The way the air feels before a Georgia thunderstorm. Thick, electric, waiting. I called Jamie Holt. My best friend since high school, mother of twin boys, the one person in Crestwood who knew I sent my parents money. She worked reception at the dentist's office and had a lie detector built into her left eyebrow. They invited you to the Magnolia, she said flatly. Yep. Ivy, your parents haven't taken you to dinner since your 16th birthday, at Applebee's. I know. Something's off. I know that too. So don't go. I looked at Lily, coloring at the kitchen table, purple crayon, tongue out, concentrating like a surgeon. If I don't go, they'll tell everyone I'm the one who split the family before Brooke's wedding. That follows Lily too. Small town. Jamie was quiet for 3 seconds. That's a long time for Jamie. Then go. But wear armor. I didn't own armor, but I had something better. a habit of saving every receipt I'd ever been handed. The night before the dinner, I couldn't sleep. I sat at the kitchen table at 1 a.m. with a calculator and a knot in my chest. Here's what I knew. My parents had power over exactly one thing in my life: Lily. My ex-husband Tyler wasn't a bad man. He was a decent man who realized at 27 that he didn't want to be a father yet. We divorced when Lily was 2. Joint custody on paper, but Tyler took her every other weekend and called it good. He moved to Savannah, started dating a dental hygienist named Courtney, bought a house with a yard. Tyler's mother, Mrs. Pratt, she was the variable. She'd wanted full custody of Lily from the start. She believed single mothers were a crisis. She kept a folder. I'm not exaggerating. She kept a folder of things she thought proved I was unfit: the apartment above the hardware store, my irregular hours, the time Lily showed up at preschool with mismatched socks. If my parents told Mrs. Pratt I was unstable, if they gave her ammunition, stories, embellishments, she'd hand that folder to a lawyer faster than Sunday brunch. I looked down the hall at Lily's door. The glow-in-the-dark stars leaked pale green light through the crack. Losing my parents? I could survive it. I'd been half lost to them since I was 12. Losing Lily? That wasn't an option. That wasn't even a thought I could hold in my head without my chest closing. So I made a decision. Go to the dinner. Stay calm. Sign whatever they put in front of me. Keep the peace. Protect Lily. That was the plan. But plans change when your mother says your daughter's name like a weapon, and mine was about to. Saturday afternoon, 4 hours before dinner, I was packing Lily's overnight bag for Jamie's house. Pajamas, toothbrush, Mr. Bunny, the stuffed rabbit she'd had since she was born, now held together with love and dental floss. While I waited for her to pick shoes, a 10-minute process for a 6-year-old, I opened Venmo on my phone. I don't know why. Instinct, maybe? Or the feeling that I should know exactly where I stood before walking into whatever was waiting at table 7. I scrolled. January, February, March, all the way back. 36 months of green arrows pointing away from my checking account. 1,300 here, 1,300 there, an extra 500 in December. For Dad's prescription, Donna had texted at 2 a.m. I added it up twice. $46,800. $46,800. I set the phone on the counter and stared at the number like it was someone else's life. That money was dance classes. It was a better apartment. It was a savings account for Lily's future. Instead, it kept Gerald's lights on and Donna's hair appointment funded. I should have closed the app. I didn't. I opened Instagram. Brooke's grid was pink and gold, curated like a boutique window. And there, posted yesterday, the newest photo. Brooke hugging Donna, grocery bags on the counter. Caption: 3 years of making sure my parents never worry. Family first. 847 likes. Marcus had left a heart emoji. I scrolled to the comments. Someone wrote, "You're such an amazing daughter." And underneath my mother's reply, "I'm so blessed to have you, Brooke. You're my rock." My rock. I screenshotted everything. Then I opened my laptop printer. I wasn't planning revenge. But I was done planning to cry. 7:28 p.m. The Magnolia's parking lot was half full. I recognized Gerald's truck, freshly washed. Unusual for a man who hadn't washed it in 6 months. Brooke's white Kia sat 2 spots over, a Web Properties bumper sticker on the back that I was sure Marcus didn't put there. I checked my reflection in the rear view. Dark blouse, clean jeans, the only pair without a bleach stain. Hair straight, no fuss. I didn't look like a woman about to be ambushed. I looked like a woman picking up takeout. In my bag, under my wallet, a manila envelope. Thin, light, heavy enough to end 3 years of silence. I walked in. Table 7, near the window. Candles lit, bread basket centered, water glasses already filled. The piano player in the corner was working through something soft and forgettable. Gerald sat at the head, of course, in a blazer I'd never seen. Donna wore a navy dress, pearls I recognized from her anniversary set. Her eyes were already pink-rimmed. Pre-performance. Brooke sat beside Marcus, champagne flute in hand, face done up like a magazine ad. Her phone leaned against the crystal bud vase in the center of the table, screen facing my empty chair. I knew that angle. I'd read an article last year about how people position phones for covert recording during custody disputes. The camera was aimed right where my face would be. Marcus stood when I approached. He was the only one. Ivy. He nodded. Slight smile. Genuine. Hey, Marcus. Gerald didn't rise. Donna patted the chair beside her. You look nice, honey. Sit. The chair was cold. The bread smelled warm. And across the table, my sister's phone screen glowed faintly red. Recording. For 15 minutes, we pretended. He was a decent man who realized at 27 that he didn't want to be a father yet. We divorced when Lily was 2. Joint custody on paper, but Tyler took her every other weekend and called it good. He moved to Savannah, started dating a dental hygienist named Courtney, bought a house with a yard. Tyler's mother, Mrs. Pratt, she was the variable. She'd wanted full custody of Lily from the start. She believed single mothers were a crisis. She kept a folder. I'm not exaggerating. She kept a folder of things she thought proved I was unfit. The apartment above the hardware store, my irregular hours, the time Lily showed up at preschool with mismatched socks. If my parents told Mrs. Pratt I was unstable, if they gave her ammunition, stories, embellishments, she'd hand that folder to a lawyer faster than Sunday brunch. I looked down the hall at Lily's door. The glow-in-the-dark stars leaked pale green light through the crack. Losing my parents? I could survive it. I'd been half lost to them since I was 12. Losing Lily? That wasn't an option. That wasn't even a thought I could hold in my head without my chest closing. So I made a decision. Go to the dinner. Stay calm. Sign whatever they put in front of me. Keep the peace. Protect Lily. That was the plan. But plans change when your mother says your daughter's name like a weapon, and mine was about to. Saturday afternoon, 4 hours before dinner, I was packing Lily's overnight bag for Jamie's house. Pajamas, toothbrush, Mr. Bunny, the stuffed rabbit she'd had since she was born, now held together with love and dental floss. While I waited for her to pick shoes, a 10-minute process for a 6-year-old, I opened Venmo on my phone. I don't know why. Instinct, maybe? Or the feeling that I should know exactly where I stood before walking into whatever was waiting at table 7. I scrolled. January, February, March, all the way back. 36 months of green arrows pointing away from my checking account. $1,300 here, $1,300 there, an extra $500 in December. For Dad's prescription, Donna had texted at 2 a.m. I added it up twice. $46,800. $46,800. I set the phone on the counter and stared at the number like it was someone else's life. That money was dance classes. It was a better apartment. It was a savings account for Lily's future. Instead, it kept Gerald's lights on and Donna's hair appointment funded. I should have closed the app. I didn't. I opened Instagram. Brooke's grid was pink and gold, curated like a boutique window. And there, posted yesterday, the newest photo. Brooke hugging Donna, grocery bags on the counter. Caption: 3 years of making sure my parents never worry. Family first. 847 likes. Marcus had left a heart emoji. I scrolled to the comments. Someone wrote, "You're such an amazing daughter." And underneath my mother's reply, "I'm so blessed to have you, Brooke. You're my rock." My rock. I screenshotted everything. Then I opened my laptop printer. I wasn't planning revenge. But I was done planning to cry. 7:28 p.m. The Magnolia's parking lot was half full. I recognized Gerald's truck, freshly washed. Unusual for a man who hadn't washed it in 6 months. Brooke's white Kia sat 2 spots over, a Web Properties bumper sticker on the back that I was sure Marcus didn't put there. I checked my reflection in the rear view. Dark blouse, clean jeans, the only pair without a bleach stain. Hair straight, no fuss. I didn't look like a woman about to be ambushed. I looked like a woman picking up takeout. In my bag, under my wallet. recording during custody disputes. The camera was aimed right where my face would be. Marcus stood when I approached. He was the only one. Ivy. He nodded. Slight smile. Genuine. Hey, Marcus. Gerald didn't rise. Donna patted the chair beside her. You look nice, honey. Sit. The chair was cold. The bread smelled warm. And across the table, my sister's phone screen glowed faintly red. Recording. For 15 minutes, we pretended. Gerald asked Marcus about a property deal on the south end of town. Donna complimented Brooke's earrings. Marcus asked me how work was going. I said fine. Nobody asked about Lily. The appetizers arrived. Shrimp cocktail, roasted beet salad, things I'd never ordered in my life because they cost more than my weekly grocery run. I ate one shrimp. It tasted like money I'd sent. Then Gerald cleared his throat. That sound. I'd heard it 1,000 times before report cards, before lectures, before every announcement that rearranged my life without my consent. The throat clear was his gavel. He reached into his blazer and produced a white envelope. Donna's handwriting on the front, careful cursive. For your own good. Ivy. Gerald set it between the bread basket and my water glass. Your mother and I have been thinking about this for a long time. Donna pressed her napkin to her eyes. On cue. Gerald opened the envelope himself, unfolded 2 typed pages. He read aloud, measured, rehearsed, like he'd practiced in the bathroom mirror. The letter said, due to irreconcilable differences in values and lifestyle, the family had decided to release Ivy from the obligations and expectations of the Thornton household. It said my personal struggles had created unnecessary tension ahead of Brooke's wedding. It said this was an act of compassion. The language was too clean for Gerald. Donna must have looked up templates online. Translation: we're cutting you off. Don't come to the wedding. Don't contact us. Disappear. Gerald placed the letter flat on the table, smoothed the crease with his palm, and set a pen beside it. We just need your signature, sweetheart. Sweetheart. He hadn't called me that since I was 9. I picked up the letter. Read it again, slowly this time. Not because I needed to understand it, but because I needed them to wait. Gerald's knee bounced under the table. I could feel the vibration through the floor. There's a second page, I said. Just the acknowledgement, Gerald said quickly. Standard. I turned the page. The second sheet was simpler. 1 paragraph. My name, a signature line, a date, and above it, I, Ivy Thornton, voluntarily relinquish all familial ties and agree to have no contact with the Thornton family or its extended relations. Extended relations. That meant the Webbs. I set the page down. And if I don't sign? Gerald's jaw worked. Donna stopped dabbing her eyes. Ivy, Gerald said, don't make this harder than it has to be. That's not an answer, Dad. He leaned forward. If you don't sign, we'll have to protect Brooke's future. And ourselves. Donna turned to me. Her voice dropped, soft enough that Marcus, seated across the table, had to lean in to hear. Tyler deserves to know what kind of mother you really are. We've kept quiet long enough. There it was. Tyler, custody, Lily. I understood the architecture now. This dinner wasn't about releasing me, it was about silencing me. Sign the paper, vanish quietly. Or they'd call my ex-husband, his mother, and anyone who'd listen with stories about the unstable single mother who couldn't keep it together. Brooke lifted her champagne, sipped. Her eyes flicked to the phone leaning on the vase, still recording. Marcus sat motionless, fork halfway to his mouth, watching the scene like a man slowly realizing he walked into the wrong room. My mother whispered, "Think about Lily. Do the right thing. Think about Lily." She said my daughter's name the way you'd lay down a trump card, casually, like it cost her nothing, but it cost me everything. I looked at my mother, really looked. The pink-rimmed eyes, the trembling lip, the pearl necklace catching candlelight. A woman who'd texted me at 2 a.m. begging for $500, who'd called me crying about the water bill, who'd written, "You're the only one I can count on," and was now using my child as a bargaining chip in a restaurant she couldn't afford. Something inside me didn't snap. I want to be clear about that. Snapping is loud. This was quiet. This was a door closing, a lock turning. The last flicker of Maybe they'll change, going dark like a pilot light. Donna leaned closer. Her perfume, the same white diamonds she'd worn my entire life, filled the space between us. Sign it, Ivy, barely audible. Or I will personally call Tyler's mother and tell her you are an unfit mother. I have stories, and I will make sure Lily grows up knowing you chose pride over her. She pulled back, smiled, the satisfied smile of a woman who believes the game is already won. I straightened my back, breathed in, breathed out. Under the table my hands were shaking, but not from fear, from something older, hotter, and far more patient. I thought about my bag on the floor beside my chair, the manila envelope inside. She had radar for drama the way dolphins have sonar. Donna reached for Gerald's arm. "Gerald, lower your voice, people are watching." "She's deflecting." Brooke's voice cut in, sharp and practiced. "This is what she does, Dad. She makes everything about herself." Brooke turned to Marcus with the expression she'd perfected since childhood, the wide-eyed, hurt but brave face. "I'm sorry you're seeing this. She's always been like this." Gerald followed up, pivoting to Marcus like a salesman closing a deal. "Marcus, I apologize for the disruption. Ivy has always been dramatic. This is exactly why we had to make this decision." Marcus said nothing. His water glass sat untouched. His eyes moved between Gerald and me with the focused stillness of a man running calculations in his head. I watched Mrs. Patterson lean toward her husband. Her lips moved. I didn't need to hear the words. In Crestwood, witnesses were permanent. Gerald tapped the pen against the letter. "Sign it, Ivy. Let's put this behind us and enjoy the rest of the evening." His voice was calm again, controlled, the patriarch restoring order, but his hand was shaking, just barely. The pen trembled against the tablecloth. I noticed. Marcus noticed. And Brooke, too busy checking her phone angle, missed everything. Donna decided it was her turn. She placed both palms flat on the table, a gesture of sincerity she'd used at every church fundraiser, every PTA meeting, every moment she needed people to believe she was the reasonable one. "Marcus, honey," her voice trembled perfectly, "I need you to understand something about our family." Marcus's jaw tightened, but he listened. "Ivy has struggled her whole life. She never finished college. She works with animals." The way she said it, like I cleaned sewers. "She couldn't keep her marriage together. We tried. Lord knows we tried. But we can't let her instability affect Brooke's future, or yours." Each sentence was a blade, delivered with a mother's concerned smile. I sat still, but inside, I was running the math on every word. Never finished college, because Donna had asked me to drop out when Gerald needed knee surgery. "Just 1 semester, honey. We need you home." That semester became 2. Then I got pregnant. Then it was over. Couldn't keep her marriage. Donna had introduced me to Tyler at a church social, pushed the wedding, planned the reception. When he left, she said, "Some women just aren't meant for marriage." Works with animals. I held someone's dying dog last Tuesday at 3 a.m. and called the family myself. But sure, just animals. Marcus set his fork down, quietly. "Brooke told me Ivy chose to leave school," he said. "That's right," Donna said quickly. "She also told me your dad's surgery was minor, outpatient." Donna's mouth opened, closed. Marcus looked at Brooke. "You said it was arthroscopic. No big deal." Brooke's champagne glass was suddenly fascinating. She turned it slowly, bubbles rising. "That's not... It's more complicated than..." "Is it?" Marcus asked. The piano player started a new song. Nobody at our table heard it. Brooke panicked. I could see it. The micro shift in her posture, the way her shoulders pulled back like a cat cornered. She wasn't used to being questioned. She was used to being believed. "Ivy," Brooke abandoned the soft voice. "Just sign the letter. Don't make this ugly." "What happens if I don't?" Brooke picked up her phone, held it up, screen toward me, not even pretending anymore. "I've been recording this entire dinner." Her chin lifted. "If you don't cooperate, I'll send this to Tyler's lawyer. A mother having a public meltdown at a restaurant?" She tilted her head, faux sympathetic. "Not a great look in custody court." The table next to us went quiet. Mrs. Patterson's fork hovered midair. "I haven't had a meltdown," I said. Brooke smiled. "Not yet. But you will. You always do." Gerald tapped the pen on the table twice. Sign the paper, Ivy. Last chance. Donna leaned close enough that I could feel her breath on my ear. Think about Lily. There it was again. Lily's name, the weapon, 3 of them, eyes locked on me, waiting for the crack. The quivering lip, the wet eyes, the footage Brooke needed. Marcus sat frozen. He looked like a man watching a car wreck in slow motion, wanting to intervene but not knowing which wire to cut. I breathed in, held it, let it go. Then I reached under the table, into my bag. My fingers found the manila envelope, smooth, cool. I'd sealed it with a single piece of tape at 4:30 that afternoon, sitting at my kitchen table while Lily drew unicorns in the next room. I brought it up and placed it on the tablecloth, right next to their letter. My hands didn't shake. Gerald stared at the envelope like I'd placed a live grenade beside the shrimp cocktail. What is that? I peeled back the tape. Calm. The way I open supply packages at the clinic, efficient, no drama. You brought your envelope, I said. I brought mine. Donna's hand moved toward her pearls. Brooke lowered her phone an inch. Marcus leaned forward, the first movement he'd made in minutes. 3 years of receipts, I said. I reached inside and pulled out a stack of printed pages. White paper, black ink, my old inkjet's slightly faded font. Not fancy, not legal, just true. The first page, a Venmo transaction history. My name at the top, Gerald Thornton at the bottom. 36 entries in a neat column, each one dated, each one for $1,300. A handful for more. $1,800 in December, $1,500 in March when the furnace broke. Total at the bottom. I'd circled it in red pen. $46,800. I held the page up. Not high, not like a protest sign. Just enough that Marcus could read it across the table. Just enough that Mrs. Patterson, craning her neck one table over, could see numbers. 36 payments, I said, voice level. $46,800. From my checking account to yours. Gerald's mouth opened. No sound came out. Like someone had unplugged his speaker. Donna's pink-rimmed eyes went wide, real this time. Not performance, pure fear. Brooke set her champagne down so hard the stem wobbled. I placed the page flat on the table, beside their disownment letter. Side by side, their fiction, my math. Should I keep going? I asked. Because I have 2 more pages. Nobody said no. Nobody said anything at all. I pulled out the second page. Printed text messages, time-stamped, complete with Donna's contact name at the top. Mom. November 15th, I read. 11:47 p.m. From Mom. I glanced at Donna. She looked like she'd swallowed her pearls. Ivy, please, the water bill is $340. Dad won't ask, but we're desperate. Don't tell Brooke, she'll worry. Ivy, Donna started. I turned the page sideways so Marcus could see the screenshot. Date, time, sender, all there. January 3rd, 2:08 a.m. From Mom. Can you send $500 extra this month? Dad needs his prescription refilled. You're the only one I can count on. Donna's hand shot across the table. Give me that. I pulled the page back. Not fast, slow, deliberate, like removing a bandage. March 19th, 1:14 a.m. Ivy, the mortgage company called again. I'm so scared. Please don't tell your father I texted you this late. Gerald turned to Donna. His face had gone from white to gray. You texted her at 1 in the morning? Gerald, I was scared, Every month, I said. For 3 years. At midnight, at 1, at 2 a.m. While Lily was sleeping and I was awake doing the math on whether I could afford both groceries and your electric bill. Marcus pulled the Venmo page toward him. He studied it the way accountants study things, line by line, number by number. Then he looked up at Brooke. You said you were paying their bills. Brooke's face went red, not embarrassed red, caught red. She's exaggerating. I helped too. How much? Marcus asked. Simple, quiet. How much did you send them, Brooke? The piano played on. Brooke didn't answer. She didn't have a number, because the number was 0. I laid down the third page, the last one. A color printout. Brooke's Instagram post from 2 days ago. The photo. Brooke and Donna, arms around each other, grocery bags artfully arranged on the kitchen counter. The caption, in Brooke's signature bubbly font. 3 years of making sure my parents never worry, family first. I placed it next to the Venmo records. This, I said, pointing to the Instagram post, is what she told the world. I moved my finger to the bank records. This is what I actually paid. The 2 pages sat side by side like a split screen. Fiction on the left, $46,800 of truth on the right. Marcus stared at both pages. His expression didn't twist into anger. It settled into something worse. Disappointment. The quiet kind. The kind that means someone has finished recalculating who you are. He turned to Brooke. Which part should I believe? He asked. The Instagram caption? Or 36 bank transfers? Marcus, baby, I can explain. Which part? He repeated. The part where you took credit for your sister's money? Or the part where your parents planned this dinner to cut her off because of it? Brooke's mouth worked. No words came. Donna's tears had started. Real ones now, not the theatrical kind. Her mascara ran in thin black rivers down her cheeks. For the first time in my memory, her tears didn't make me feel guilty. They made me feel tired. Gerald sat rigid. The patriarch who'd walked in owning the table was now staring at his bread plate, like it held instructions for what to do when your whole plan collapses in front of your future son-in-law. Mrs. Patterson didn't even pretend to look away anymore. Marcus folded his napkin, set it beside his plate. Precise. The way he probably closed a ledger at the end of the day. Then he stood. The chair scraped against the tile. A sound small enough to be nothing in any other restaurant. But in the vacuum of table 7, it cracked like a gunshot. Where are you going? Brooke's voice pitched high. The confident, curated Brooke from Instagram was gone. This Brooke sounded 20 years younger and twice as scared. Home, Marcus said. My home. I need to think. Marcus, she's manipulating you. She planned this whole... Marcus held up one hand. Not aggressive, just final. Brooke. He spoke the way you'd speak to someone you were very tired of protecting from themselves. Your sister just showed me 36 months of bank records. You showed me an Instagram caption. He paused. I know which one I believe. He looked at me. One nod. Brief. The kind of respect you give someone who told the truth when it would have been easier to lie. Then he walked toward the door. Unhurried. Past Mrs. Patterson's table. Past the hostess stand. Past the piano player, who transitioned seamlessly into another ballad, as if Marcus Webb's engagement wasn't crumbling in real time. Brooke shoved her chair back. The legs shrieked against the floor. She grabbed her clutch and ran after him, heels clicking rapid fire on the stone, champagne glass abandoned, phone forgotten on the table, still recording, still pointed at my chair. Gerald and Donna and I sat in the wreckage. Their disownment letter lay open. My receipts lay open beside it. The candle flickered between them like a referee unsure which side to call. Nobody in the restaurant moved. Then, a fork clinked. A glass was set down. Life resumed, but not at table 7. I gathered my pages, stacked them, tapped the edges even against the table. The same motion I used to square up patient charts at the clinic. Neat, orderly. I slid them back into the manila envelope. Gerald spoke first. His voice was hoarse, like he'd swallowed sand. You just ruined your sister's engagement. I looked at him, my father, the man who'd introduced me as an afterthought for 32 years. No, I said. Brooke's lies ruined her engagement. I just stopped lying for her. Donna's hands were flat on the table, mascara streaked, pearls rising and falling with shallow breaths. After everything we've done for you, you've done nothing for me, Mom. I said it without heat, without spite, like reading a lab result. I did everything for you, and you rewarded me with this. I pointed at their letter. For your own good. Donna's neat cursive, now smeared with a water ring from Gerald's glass. I stood, picked up my bag, slid the strap over my shoulder. I'm not signing your letter. I'm not begging. And I'm not your secret anymore. Gerald opened his mouth. I kept going. Starting tonight, I'm done sending money. I'm done being invisible. And if either of you contacts Tyler or his mother about Lily, if you say one word about my fitness as a parent, these records become a public conversation, not a private one. I pushed my chair in, quietly, no scraping. I hope you find a way to pay your own bills. I did it for 3 years on a vet tech salary while raising a daughter alone. I'm sure you'll manage. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't slam anything. I didn't give Brooke's still recording phone a single frame it could use. I just walked away from table 7. The walk from table 7 to the front door was maybe 30 feet. It felt like 30 miles. I passed Mrs. Patterson's table. She looked up at me. Not with pity, not with gossip hunger. With something that looked a lot like a nod. Small, firm, the kind you give someone who just did a hard thing without flinching. I kept walking. Near the hostess stand, a hand touched my arm. I flinched. Instinct. Then saw the face. Dan Holloway, the Magnolia's manager. Tall, red-haired, perpetually worried-looking. 15 months ago, he'd brought his Beagle biscuit into paw print at 11 p.m. on a Saturday. Bloat, the stomach twisted, life-threatening. I stayed 3 extra hours that night. Biscuit pulled through. Dan had sent a card that read, "You saved my best friend. Ivy." Dan kept his voice low. "Your check tonight is on the house." "Dan, you don't have to." He shook his head once. "Biscuit says thank you." I almost lost it right there. Not because of the free dinner, because in a restaurant where my family had just tried to erase me, the man whose dog I'd saved at midnight remembered my name. That's the thing about small towns. They see everything, and sometimes what they see is you. I pushed through the front door. The Georgia night hit me. Warm, humid, smelling like fresh-cut grass from the church lawn across the street. Crickets, a distant dog barking, the ordinary sounds of a world that hadn't ended, even though something inside me had. I made it to my car, sat down, closed the door, and I cried. Not the tears they wanted, the broken, begging kind. These were the other ones. The kind that come when you finally set something heavy down after carrying it for 3 years. Relief. That's what relief tastes like. Salt and silence. I drove to Jamie's house. 9:07 p.m. Porch light on. Cartoon sounds leaking through the screen door. Jamie opened up before I knocked. She had that look. The one where she'd been sitting by the window watching for headlights. That bad? That good, actually. Her left eyebrow climbed, the lie detector engaged, but she let it go. "Mommy!" Lily came barreling down the hallway in her unicorn pajamas, sock feet sliding on the hardwood. She hit my legs like a tiny wrecking ball and wrapped both arms around my knees. "Mommy, Jamie let me eat 2 popsicles." "2? That's very serious." And I watched the one with the fish. Nemo. He finds his dad. "I know, baby." I crouched down and pulled her in. Her hair smelled like kid shampoo and strawberry ice cream. Her arms tightened around my neck with the ferocity of someone who doesn't know the world is complicated yet. Over Lily's shoulder, Jamie mouthed, "You okay?" I nodded. "I'll tell you everything tomorrow, but tonight, I just need to hold her." Jamie squeezed my arm at the door. "Whatever happened at that restaurant, you did the right thing, I can tell." "How?" "Because you're not crying and you're not apologizing. That's new." She wasn't wrong. I buckled Lily into her car seat. She was asleep before I turned onto Elm Street, out cold, head tilted, Mr. Bunny clutched in one fist. I checked the rearview mirror. No headlights following me. I checked my phone at a red light. No texts from Gerald. No calls from Donna. No voicemail from Brooke. For the first time in 3 years, my phone was silent. I drove home in the quiet, and the quiet felt like mine. Sunday morning. Lily ate cereal at the kitchen table and drew a picture of Biscuit. She'd met Dan's beagle once at the clinic and decided they were best friends. I poured coffee, sat across from her, opened my phone. First call, the legal aid office at the county courthouse. A woman named Rebecca answered, voice like warm sandpaper. "If my parents contact my ex-husband and make false claims about my fitness as a mother, what are my options?" Rebecca didn't blink. I imagine she hears variations of this question every Monday. Document everything. Save texts, voicemails, any communication. If it escalates to harassment, you can petition for a protective order. Do you have evidence of the threats? My sister recorded the dinner where they said it. A pause. She recorded herself making threats? She recorded me, but she got them too. Keep copies of everything. If your ex files any motion based on their claims, those recordings and financial records will speak for themselves. I thanked her, hung up, wrote down her name and number on the notepad by the fridge, the one Lily had decorated with dinosaur stickers. Second action. I opened Venmo, found the recurring payment to Gerald Thornton. 36 months of automatic transfers stared back at me. I pressed cancel. One tap. The thing that had cost me $46,000, 3 years of ramen dinners, and every pair of new jeans, gone in one tap. Third action. One text message. To Gerald. I love you both, but I will not be used anymore. Do not contact Tyler. Do not contact me unless it's to apologize, a real one. I set the phone face down on the table. Lily looked up from her drawing. Mommy, do beagles like cereal? Probably, baby, but it's not good for them. Oh, like too much candy? Exactly like that. I want to step out of the story for a second. After I sent that text, I sat at the kitchen table staring at my phone for 20 minutes, waiting, watching the screen. Nothing. No reply from Gerald, no reply from Donna, just Lily humming and coloring across from me. And honestly, I don't know if the silence hurt more or less than the dinner. Here's what I keep going back and forth on, and I want your take. Do you think my parents were always like this? Were they always the kind of people who'd use a grandchild as leverage? Or did the money pressure and Brooke's wedding change them into something they weren't before? Because some nights I think I lost them at that restaurant, and other nights I think I never had them to begin with. Drop your honest opinion in the comments. I read every single one, and your perspectives help me more than you know. All right, let me tell you what happened in the weeks after that dinner. Crestwood is a small town with a long memory. I didn't say a word to anyone. I didn't have to. Mrs. Patterson went to her Tuesday Bible study. By Wednesday afternoon, the story had migrated from the Baptist church to the hair salon on Main to the checkout line at Garner's Market. I know because Jamie texted me a play-by-play with the precision of a war correspondent. Linda at the salon says Donna's been sick all week. Tuesday. Roy from the VFW asked Gerald at coffee if his daughter really paid his bills for 3 years. Gerald left before finishing his cup. Thursday. Brooke deleted her Instagram. Friday. Donna didn't show up at the flower shop for 4 days. When she returned, her co-worker Helen, who'd seen the Instagram post, who'd liked it, who'd commented, "Mother-daughter goals," looked at her across the arrangement counter. "Donna, I had no idea Ivy was the one helping you. You must be so grateful." Donna didn't answer. She trimmed the stems of a dozen roses and said nothing for the rest of the shift. Gerald tried to hold his ground. He went to his usual booth at Clyde's Diner for Saturday breakfast. 2 men he'd known for 20 years sat down across from him. "Gerald, heard your oldest has been supporting you folks for a while now. That's a good kid you raised." Gerald put a 5 on the table and walked out with his eggs untouched. "I didn't orchestrate any of this. That's the thing about truth in a small town. You don't have to broadcast it. You just have to say it once, in front of the right person, and let the zip code do the rest." Mrs. Patterson was the right person. Table 5 was the right seat. Marcus didn't break the engagement immediately. From what I pieced together later, through Jamie, through small-town gravity, he gave Brooke a chance. He sat her down in his apartment the morning after and asked her to explain. Everything. The Instagram posts, the money, the lies. Brooke tried the playbook that had always worked. She cried. She said she was going to pay them back eventually. She said she didn't mean for it to go this far. She said I had twisted things. Marcus listened. He's that kind of man, the kind who lets you finish. Then he asked one question. "How much of your own money did you send your parents, Brooke? Total. In 3 years." She couldn't answer. Because the answer was a number you don't need a CPA to calculate. 0. 3 weeks later, Marcus returned the engagement ring. No social media announcement, no public scene, just a quiet conversation in his apartment, and then it was over. Brooke moved back into our parents' guest room, the same room she'd lived in rent-free while I sent $1,300 a month. Except now, the $1,300 wasn't coming. Gerald and Donna faced reality that first month like a cold shower. The electric bill, the water bill, Gerald's prescription, a blood pressure medication that cost $94 a month without insurance. The furnace that wheezed every time the temperature dropped below 50. Donna called me 2 weeks after the dinner. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail. Ivy, we need to talk. 37 seconds. No apology. No, I'm sorry. No, I shouldn't have said what I said about Lily. Just, we need to talk. Translation, we need money. I deleted the voicemail, then I deleted it from the deleted folder. Some doors closed clean. 1 month after the dinner, a Tuesday. I was washing dishes while Lily practiced writing her name at the table, 5 letters, tongue out, gripping the pencil like it owed her money. My phone rang. Gerald. I dried my hands, looked at the screen for 3 rings, then I picked up. Ivy. His voice was different, smaller, like the volume knob had been turned down from the inside. Dad? I'm not calling to apologize. Okay. A long breath, the kind that carries weight. The power's going to be shut off Friday. I know. Can you? No. Silence. Not the aggressive kind from the restaurant. The tired kind. The kind that lives in a house where the lights might go out. Then Gerald said something I never expected. You were always the strong one, Ivy. I just didn't want to admit it. I leaned against the counter, closed my eyes. That's not an apology, Dad. I know. Saying I'm strong doesn't undo what you did. It doesn't undo the letter or the threats or Mom telling me she'd call Tyler. It doesn't undo 3 years of taking my money and pretending it was Brooke's. I know, he said again, quieter. When you're ready to really apologize, not because you need money, not because the power's out, but because you're genuinely sorry for what you did to your daughter at that table, call me again. And if I can't, then I guess we'll both know where we stand. I hung up, set the phone on the counter, pressed my palms flat on the cold tile and breathed. Lily looked up. Was that Grandpa? Yeah, baby. Is he okay? I looked at her. Those big eyes. No agenda behind them. Just love. He's figuring things out, I said. It wasn't a lie. I just didn't know if it was true yet. 3 months after the dinner at the Magnolia. I still live above the hardware store. Still work at Paw Print. Still wear scrubs that smell like antiseptic and Labrador. Nothing about my life looks dramatically different from the outside. But the math changed. $1,300 a month. My money now. Lily's money. I opened a savings account at Crestwood Community Credit Union in her name. College fund. The starting balance was embarrassing. But it exists. That's what matters. Lily eats ice cream after school on Fridays now. 1 scoop. Strawberry. She thinks it's the most extravagant thing in the world. She might be right. I joined a single parents support group at the community center on Oak Street. Wednesday evenings. 7 people in folding chairs, sharing the specific exhaustion of doing everything alone. It's not glamorous. But when someone says I get it and means it, the room gets a little lighter. Jamie noticed first. You look different, she said over coffee at her kitchen table. Different how? I don't know. Taller? I'm 5'6", same as always. Taller, she repeated. And you sleep now. I can tell. She was right. No more 2 a.m. texts from Donna. No more lying awake calculating whether I could cover Gerald's prescription and Lily's field trip in the same week. The midnight math was over. Marcus texted me once. Brief, respectful, no small talk, no flirting. Thank you for being honest that night. I hope Lily knows how lucky she is. I typed back. She will. That was it. No love story. No rescue arc, just 2 adults who respected each other enough to be honest and then move on. Some stories don't end with a new beginning. They end with a clearing. Space where there used to be weight. This was my clearing. I'm going to talk to you directly now. Not as Ivy in the story, as Ivy right here today. I didn't tell you all of this so you'd hate my parents. They're not monsters. They're people, flawed, scared, proud people who chose image over integrity and lost both. Gerald can't pay his electric bill. Donna lost her standing at the flower shop and the church. Brooke lost the man she was going to marry. Those aren't things I celebrate. They're consequences they built for themselves, brick by brick, lie by lie. I told you this because somewhere out there someone listening is the Ivy in their family. The one who sends money no one acknowledges. The one who gives up vacations and new clothes and Friday night dinners so someone else's lights stay on. The one who gets introduced last, thanked never, and blamed first. If that's you, hear me. You are allowed to stop. Boundaries aren't punishment. They aren't selfishness. They aren't proof that you don't love your family. Boundaries are you saying, I love you, but I love myself enough to stop burning so you can stay warm. I know that's terrifying. I know the guilt feels like a physical thing, like a hand on your chest. I know because I felt it at table 7 with a pen in front of me and my mother's perfume in the air. But I also know what the other side feels like. It feels like driving home with your daughter asleep in the back seat and the phone finally, mercifully silent. Lily drew a picture last week. 2 people. Her and me. Big yellow sun in the corner. That's our family, she said. I looked at it for a long time. Yeah, I said. That's enough. It is. That's where I'll leave it. If this story meant something to you, if you've been the one holding the family together while they handed you the bill and the blame, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. I've got a story in the description that I think will hit just as close. And if you've had your own envelope moment, that one time you stopped folding and finally stood up, tell me about it in the comments. I read every single one. And honestly, your stories are braver than mine. Every time. Thank you for staying until the end. It means more than you know. I'll see you in the next one.